Hi, I'm Danny from the Glittered Rose. If you're a new mixed media artist and you're looking for a really easy method to build a picture, then this is the video for you. Stamperia make gorgeous rice papers, and they are such an easy way to build a picture. I think it's just such a great way to practice mixed media. It's so forgiving. So in this video, I show you different methods and techniques to build a mixed media spread. I've used fluid acrylic paints, but I also give you ideas for different alternatives. You don't have to use what I've used. Stamperia have some fantastic rice papers. They're always bringing out um, different releases, but I just absolutely fell in love with this current release. So be sure to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and let me know what you think of this spread. Yes, I've made a scene, but I've also built up layers and made it really arty and my own sort of look while still building a scene. So I've really made it my own, but I think it's just gorgeous. So if you want to learn how I've done this my own way, stick around and let's get into it. I've done it in my brand new art journal. I've really enjoyed creating in it. My favorite thing about it is that it lies flat, so it's really easy to create a spread, which I really appreciate. So let's get into it. Okay, so jumping in, I'm going to be creating in my brand new Dylusions square ledger journal. And I've already picked a page just randomly. I don't start at the start. I just like to pick one just randomly. And I've popped a couple of pages behind it, just so that it won't leak onto the pages behind. I absolutely fell in love with this collection from Stamperia. It's Hidden Grove, and I encourage everyone to check it out. I think it's adorable. So I'm going to use a few different pieces from the collection. I'm just going to work out what size I want to use this page. So I know I won't be able to use much of this page once it's chopped apart. So I'm going to use probably most of it. And then there's a moon in the top right corner of it. So I'll probably pop that on the right hand side of my spread as well. So I'm just using a water brush. And this will just help me tear it. And so the torn edge will help blend these edges in when I glue it down. I'm going to have a torn edge all the way along. So same method, I'll just wet that down and then tear it. I'm going to do this for all my elements. I won't make you sit and watch me do this. You get the idea. All right, I'll be back when I've got all my elements torn out and we can start gluing. Okay, so I'm going to use the Stamperia Rice paper glue to glue down all these images. Usually I just use my collage medium, but because Mr. Frog is so big, I figure I may as well bring out the big guns just to make sure that he's glued down nice and flat. So I'm going to grab a nice big brush for this, and I'll pop a nice smooth coat down. I'm going to keep a bit of a border around the sides and the bottom because I'll want to do a little bit of painting to blend everything in. I'm going to pop the rice paper glue over the top just to seal the image and make sure that there are no bubbles underneath as well. You don't need to use this rice paper glue, you can use what you've got, even a glue stick, but if possible, just go over the top. It's a bit of a shame, but some of this printed image is bleeding a little bit, so just be mindful of what you do use. Maybe a little bit of a seal beforehand. If you're going to seal it, you could just use a bit of glue beforehand. It's probably just because it's such a dark image. I would have thought that it would have been printed in pigment ink, but maybe it's not. It is quite smelly though, so I would have thought it would have been. Who knows? Okay, I'm going to glue down the other images and then I'll be back. I've glued everything down with a couple of bonus mushrooms and I think that's looking pretty good. So now I've grabbed out an Stamperia paint. I quite like their acrylic paints. They're really well priced. They're a nice paint. This is in Nougat and it's a little too dark, so I'm just going to add a little bit of I'll add a bit of gesso for a bit of added texture. Some people don't like the texture of gesso. I think they're a bit crazy. So you could add just some white acrylic paint if you're one of those crazy people. I'm just joking. So I'm just lightening that up. So this I'm just using just as a base coat just to start blending the layers in. And I'm not worrying too much because this is really just the start. I know there'll be more layers as we go. Fingers are a great blending tool. I just love this frog. There's something about him. I love his little steampunk hat. Alright, I'm going to finish blending these layers and then I'll be back. I'd like to say it's looking really good, but it's not. It's going through its uglies, but we persevere and we push on. Okay, so now I'm just going over it with a little bit of gesso. Just to add a little bit of white space or just to brighten it up and make it a little bit fresher looking. And just to sort of smooth out that that blending. It's really smoothing out that blending, and it's sort of pushing the blending backwards to make it look more like that's in the background. Okie dokie, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so now I'm grabbed out a stencil, and this is, I think it's from Lavinia Stamps, and I really like it because they look like giant leaves, and it's a very sort of an organic shape, so I think that this will work really well on this spread. If you don't have modeling paste or stencils, you can skip this step, but I really do love the texture and interest that it brings to mixed media, so I do recommend you get it. I do find this stencil difficult if you're just wanting to put one or two leaves down because they're so close together. So I will be popping some down and taking some areas off, as you can see, but it's worth it. Such a great stencil. All right, I'm going to pop some of these leaves down and let it dry, and once it's dry, pop some color down into the stencil. I'm going to be using some watercolor. If you don't have watercolor, you could use some watered down acrylic paint or some inks or some spray inks. It's amazing what you can use if you don't have something. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so I've got some Kuretake Sumi Colours, and I'm going to use the blue, and it's a really nice dark blue. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of colour through the modelling paste, and I don't want anything too perfect, just the idea that colour's there. And this is sort of really grungy dark colour. I don't want it to compete with the images. I want it to sit back a little bit. So I'm just popping a little bit of colour there. I'm not being too worried about how it goes on. Just running that colour through. I have a tendency to highlight my modeling paste later by adding some paint and things, so I really don't want it too dark with colour. And I don't want to add too much water, otherwise it'll become a bit of a soggy paste. It all sort of dries the paint and everything, so you can't be too picky when you use this technique. A lot of it's not in your control. Okay, so I've gotten my Matisse de Rivian out, and this is the fluid, and this is a lot more fluid than the turquoisey color that I used on my wall art piece project that I did the other day. And I like it. They're very opaque. Again, it gives a different look than if I were to finger paint with acrylic paint or like standard acrylic paint or even gesso. But, you know, if you have gesso or acrylic paint, you can do this technique. This gives it a really sort of a soft, dreamy kind of a look. I think I like doing this. You really soften everything and um, it's almost painterly while adding texture. And it sort of hides layers, builds it into one piece. That blue watercolor was a lot more grey than I was expecting to, so this is hiding some of that I wasn't expecting. So but you can still sort of see that it's under there, which I like. I'm just having fun and finger painting and seeing what happens. Now I'm gonna have a play with burnt umber and see what I think of this, and blend that hill in that little froggy's standing on. I wonder where that lump came from of brown. Oh, well, it can be a dirt patch. From my hand. Okay, I'm gonna add a bit of white, soften it up here. It's a bit, um, yeah, a bit too dark. I have to say, I'm a bit of a fan of these colours. I think they're really nice. I might be lucky that they're not at my local Leckersley's. I have to travel just that little bit further to get them. I'm kind of wishing now I didn't pop that moon up in the top right corner or cut away more of the blue, but I thought I might be able to balance it. Um, I thought I had a blue in this liquid acrylic, but it turned out to be a dark green. But in the bottle, it looked very bluish. Oh well. Okay, so I've been popping some splashes of colour on. In the bottle, I thought it looked more like the colour on the snail, and I think it's a little bit too bright. But I'll continue popping it on, and then yeah, I'm not loving it. I think I'm going to add a bit of brown. So I'm just mixing in some brown with this orange, and then I'm going to go over the top. Really do like the feeling of this fluid acrylic. It's nice and smooth and all right, I'll finish up with this. I'm just going to go over with gesso just to set back some of this color because I can't say I love it. But that's what I love about mixed media is all the layers and the interest that you can get. You know, when you have some color peeking through and the color sort of matches those mushrooms and that um, snail, it adds that interest and um, gives you something to look at. All right. I think I'm pretty much done here. I'll probably end up, I don't know, not thinking I'm done, but for the moment, I think it's done, and then we'll get on to the next step. I had to change my battery, and unfortunately, I moved my camera and I missed popping on some rub-ons. So there's a couple of butterflies and some little square details just for some added details. Now I'm doing some highlights with a gel pen, um, just in the mushrooms and around the froggy, just to make them stand out a little bit. I've just popped a saying on and now I'm just edging the page with a bit of pastel. If you don't have pastel, crayon or a pen, it doesn't matter, or you can leave it. I just like it because I feel it frames it and finishes it nicely. I think it needs a bit of freshening. So I've got a blob of white acrylic paint. I meant to get a little bit, but of course a big blob came out. And I'm just going over some white sections and freshening them up. Sometimes I think things can seep through, or you're just not happy with the amount of colour that's, showing through. So just a layer of white can brighten things up. Or sometimes you just want to add a little bit more white space, and that's fine too. I really had fun creating this page or this spread. It's a nice size, nice to create in. I love how the journal lies flat, makes it really easy to work in. I'm finding it difficult to know how much I want to cover up and how much I want to leave in. I really sort of want to blend out that blue corner because I was not particularly happy with that spot. And I'm finding going over it with the white is really sort of blending it in. But rice paper is really a forgiving medium, and that's why I think it's perfect for beginners. It's easier to work with than paper. It's easier to blend. Um, yeah, I think if you're a beginner, it's a great option. But it's great for everyone. It's fun. And I really think that Stamperia have nailed it on the head with this collection. It's so much fun. All right, I'm going to finish off this white and then have a look and see if it needs anything else. I have a black pen and I've decided that I'm just going around in some areas and just going to trace it just so it stands out a bit. I probably painted over the edges, and because it's sort of rice paper, it doesn't have really sharp edges anyway. And along with my modeling paste, I think if I go around it, it'll just make it stand out a bit. Yeah, I think that looks nice. I'm happy with that. These little glowy dots are really gorgeous, but they're kind of a little soft. So I'm grabbing my acrylic. Might be a bit soft for this, but we're going to give it a go. And I'm going to do little dots. I think that looks really cool. Hopefully they'll dry okay. Oh, I think that's cool. I like that. Pop a little bit on my toadstool. Gonna have a yellow top. What do you think of that? Bit on the moon, bit of smooshy painting. And then I'm gonna smoosh a bit of my brown, already brown, on these mushrooms because that's the perfect colour. I'll put a bit on these Modeling paste leaves too. I love that the liquid paints are liquid enough to do this sort of an effect too. Look at that. Oh, that's really sort of lifted that mushroom. Oh, I'm so happy with that. Look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I should probably stop before I ruin it. I reckon that this spread is actually coming along really nicely. Didn't like it for a while, but I do now. Yeah, I probably should let these dots dry and everything dry, and then we'll have a close look at it together and call it done. I'm happy with this. All right, I'll be back. Oof, what a journey. So many layers, but it just goes to prove you just got to keep on going until you're happy, and I'm happy. I think that it's really gorgeous. It's whimsical, it's cute, but it's still arty. It's me. I think it's really cool. I love the layers. I think it's, textural. It's interesting. It hasn't lost any of its charm with the little frog. I just love it. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. I think all of the techniques are really achievable for newcomers, but also, experienced mixed media artists as well. So grab yourself some rice papers, some acrylic paints. The Stamperia paints are really cheap. The fluid acrylics aren't too badly priced either if you want to grab some of those. I really do love Stamperia rice papers. They're so easy to work with, and this release is so cute. Thanks so much for watching till the end. Be sure to leave me a comment, hit the like button, share with your friends, hit the notifications if you like my videos. Would really help me out if you do any of those. I'm still a fairly new channel, so it's really really great when people interact with my videos, and I do appreciate everybody who takes the time. All right, guys, till next time. Bye for now.